So welcome everybody to my chat, becoming a ChatGPT MVP with professional documents. My name is Rob Kairuz. I'm the career coach at the Career Connection Center for Arts, Communications, Media, and Marketing. I do have my Instagram channel up there. I post content on finding jobs, internships, resume, LinkedIn, all that sort of stuff. So if you are interested, you can go and you can follow me. And I'm going to chat with you a little bit of my experiences with helping students with ChatGPT and helping them become an MVP with professional documents. So right off the bat, I'm not a pro at ChatGPT at all, but I do use it every single day in all of my career planning appointments for professional documents, such as resumes, cover letters, and I also use it for a couple of other things. So I don't think I need to tell you all what ChatGPT is, but this is almost for me. When I was finding out, ChatGPT stands for generative, where it gets all the, it generates a language, where we can chat with it, where it was pre-trained on a data set. And then this is the part that I didn't know what the T stood for, which was transformer. And I was very disappointed it wasn't like a real transformer. So that was me right there. When I asked ChatGPT what it most resembled, hey ChatGPT, who do you most resemble? Are you like a Terminator AI? Are you like Wall-E the AI? ChatGPT told me it was more like HAL 9000, which was not very comforting to me. That being said, it gave me a little bit of context as to like how to talk to it and how to work with it and what to do with it. How does it work best? And I'm sure a lot of you know this, so this is just kind of touching base. You ask ultra specific questions in your prompt. So the more specific you are, the better off it's going to be. And it's the same thing with career planning and with resumes and with all that stuff. You can't be vague, so you have to be very, very ultra specific. And I'll provide you examples of the prompts that I use in my career planning with students that have helped them get to the interview phase. So a lot of students have come to me, they have difficulty with even getting to an interview phase. Rob, here's my resume. They have excellent resumes. It's really, really good stuff. What is happening? What's going on? We work on the ChatGPT. I show them the prompts. We coach it a little bit, and then they come back to me and they're like, hey, Rob, this really worked. I have an interview for students always send me an email or shoot me a message, or they come to the Career Connection Center the day before an interview or the day of an interview, like how I did from before here. So that happens a lot, but that's what we use it, and I'll show you the prompts that I use that has helped students in the past. So one thing that I like to say with ChatGPT is ChatGPT can cook. Like it can really get the job done. All right, so like you can ask it to do a bunch of things. So for example, we just got a dog a couple of days ago, and the dog was they did an operation on it, and I asked it. There was like a little bit of like stuff coming out of the dog, and I've never had a dog before. So I'm like, hey ChatGPT, is this normal? And it gave me some answers, and it was enough to hold us over until we went to the vet. Like ChatGPT can cook. My mom had a code that came on her car. Mom, what is P01? She was like, son, how is happening to my car? Here's the code that's coming out. What does P0128 mean? I put it in there, like, ChatGPT, what is code P0128? It told me what it was. Your mom needs antifreeze in her car. So I told her to go to the mechanic to go ahead and do that. ChatGPT can cook. And so like I want to go ahead and just remind you all that it can do a lot of things. How can it help you for developing professional documents? It can help you develop a resume template for a specific field. So if you are in journalism, if you are in engineering, if you are in computer science, it can help you craft a detailed resume for that specific field. It can help you find keywords in a job posting. So I'm going to just pose the question, make this a little more interactive. Show of hands, how many of you know what keywords are in a job posting? Cool. All right, great. Before ChatGPT, as a career coach, this was an art, all right? What I would coach is look for the verbs, look for the nouns, right? So the action verbs, look for the nouns, and there are your keywords. ChatGPT has helped take the art part of it, and it's turned it into a science. You can really pinpoint what those keywords are. It can identify the top skills in a job posting. So keywords are a little bit like seasoning. You sprinkle those throughout a resume. But the skills, the top 10 skills, the skills that you have in a job posting, that's what you want to start your bullet points with. And we'll get into that. ChatGPT can critique a resume. So we have tools at the Career Connection Center that can also help you critique a resume. Quincia is really, really good with that. ChatGPT can do it also. and I'll show you how it does all that. And it can offer an outline for a cover letter. So I will show you the prompts that I do. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, ChatGPT can write it for you, 100%. You ask it to write a cover letter for you, it can do it for you. As a career professional, and as somebody that reads cover letters, and has gotten to really familiar and comfortable with reading cover letters from generative AI, we can tell. If I can tell, then an HR professional can tell too. So just FYI, like, sure, it can do it for you, but it's like little things, right? If you copy paste from ChatGPT, there's like a special font that people do. They don't take the font off; they just leave the font there, and then it's almost too perfect. It's too good. Again, it can cook. Like, this is really, really good. Wow. But we can tell, and career professionals can tell, HR professionals can tell, and so I'll give you a couple of ideas and tactics that you can use to really help elevate your cover letter with ChatGPT, but also still make it authentic. And it can review a cover letter. So you can feed it your cover letter. You can ask it for suggestions. Hey, ChatGPT, can you help me make this a bit more concise? Can you pinpoint where my grammar is wrong? Can you help me out? It can do a lot of these things, and it can review and tell you, hey, based on the job posting that you provided, this cover letter might be missing this, or it might need this. So it can really, really help and take a lot of the guesswork out of what needs to go inside of the cover letter. So it can help you with all these things. So creating a resume template, how can ChatGPT do that? I want to go ahead and take you on a hero's journey, or in this case, an anti-hero's journey. Does anybody know who this is up here? You can shout it out. That's Harley Quinn. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and this is a real picture of Harley Quinn going in for a job interview. Totally not made with Midjourney. Not made with Midjourney at all. No Midjourney prompt was used on this. I'm just kidding. I totally used Midjourney on this. But here's Harley Quinn getting she comes into the Career Connection Center. Hey, Rob, what can I do with my what can I do with my resume? What can I do with my professional documents? I, as you know, am a former villain, and I'm trying to reform myself and apply to the Justice League. So she comes in and she needs help, right? And so how are we going to help her? What can we do with Harley Quinn, who's trying to reform herself, change her life around, change her stars, and go from a villain to a hero? Like, what is her journey going to look like when she comes in? How can we help her with these professional documents? So creating the resume template, asking a specific prompt. Okay, so really, really cool thing that ChatGPT can do is that it can actually code things for you. Which I don't know much about that, but I know that it can do it, right? So you can ask, hey, ChatGPT, can you code a resume template for a role in, right, engineering, journalism, publishing? Can you code a resume template for a job in the medical field? And it can do that. This is what comes out when you ask ChatGPT to do that. And then there is a little copy code right there, and you can take that, and it'll have like your name, your information, objective, education, relevant experience, and it'll change this based on what the field is, right? So if you're doing computer science, it'll do this for computer science. But if you're doing journalism, right, where experiences are more important than an objective statement or than a professional statement or even education sometimes, they want to see what you've done, it'll give it to you in the reverse. So you can ask it even to do specific things, right? In the last example, there are no dates on there, no cities, nothing is right aligned. And doing this a couple times, it's like, hey, how do I get more information out of here? So it's less work on me, like less work on Harley Quinn, who is trying to really, really desperately get a job at the Justice League. So you can ask it, can you code a resume template for a role in a specific field that right aligns the dates and city? And yeah, it can do that. It can go ahead and it can do that for you. And you can go ahead and you can copy code and it'll take it over to a Word document, which is really, really cool. This is what it's going to look like, okay? ChatGPT is not perfect. It can certainly do a lot for you. ChatGPT can cook, can certainly cook, but you still got to put a little bit of work into it to make something really, really good. So this is what we started off with. You know, come see your career coach, your friendly neighborhood career coach. We'll be happy to help you out, and we'll help you turn it from something that looks like this, right, where a lot of the formatting is already kind of done and like the organizing is done, and we can help you turn it into something like this. So for you to get it there, it still requires your input, but some of the grunt work stuff is already done for you. You can just kind of plug and play from there, come see us, and we can help you turn it from this to this. So what's the takeaway with that, right? Sure, ChatGPT can help you create a resume template in a specific field, in the specific order that it needs to be in, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect, and it still needs a lot of human input. It's a really, really great tool to help you get the ball rolling, especially if you don't have ideas or if you need some help. It's a great place to start from scratch, but you're going to need help. The next thing that ChatGPT can do with your professional documents to help you become an MVP, to help Harley Quinn on this hero's journey that she's going through, is that it can help you with keywords and skills. And before we delve into more of what keyword skills are, how to find all that stuff, I want to give you a brief history of applicant tracking systems. By a show of hands, does anybody know what an applicant tracking system is? Great. So it's 3 people. I don't know, like 1,000 of you that are in here. That's not a lot, right? So an applicant tracking system is used by about 95% of Fortune 500 companies. And what they are computer programs that are used to organize candidates, okay? So a company like Google, right, for one job, any job at Google, can get 30,000 applicants. So Google's not going to read all 30,000 applications by hand. They're not going to have an HR professional do that. They're going to use one of these applicant tracking systems, also known as ATSs, to sort it out for them and give them the top candidates. And the way that it does this is by finding the applications that have the most keywords inside of the resume, and these keywords are going to be inside of the job posting. So every single job that you apply to, right, as a career coach, we always tell you, hey, customize and tailor your resume. Customize and tailor your resume. We say that ad nauseum. The reason why we do that is because every single job out there has a different set of keywords, a different set of keys. Okay, if you're using the keywords from Google and you're applying to Microsoft, or from Google and you're applying to Hearst Media, right? It's a different set of keywords. It's not going to open the door for you. So that's what an applicant tracking system does. It's looking for all those keywords in your resume, and those keywords are going to be inside of the job posting. So that is a very, very brief history of applicant tracking systems. So again, here we are. Here's Harley Quinn. Here is the job posting for the Justice League. So the Justice League provided a really, really detailed job posting as to what they're looking for. There are very, very specific keywords. And the art component of this, like trying to find those keywords, things like responding to crisis or collaborating in the team, having integrity, upholding the mission, engaging effectively, being empathetic with individuals, having a strong commitment to peace and justice. A lot of these things are the keywords that they're looking for in the Justice League. Justice League is run by Bruce Wayne, right? Like, I'm a huge Batman fan. So, like, at least he's funding it, right? Like, Bruce Wayne's going to be having an applicant tracking system, checking all those superheroes. Like, somehow, some way in the DC universe, everybody's a superhero. So everybody would be applying to this, including Harley Quinn, and they're going to use an applicant tracking system. So how does Harley Quinn set herself apart? How does Harley Quinn make sure that she is the one that has her application read? She asks very specific prompts of ChatGPT, and the prompt here is, what are the top 10 or 15 or 5 skills from a job posting, from this specific job posting from the Justice League? What are those specific skills? And this is what it looks like. What are those top skills? You ask it specifically, what are the top skills you ask from that specific job posting? So you actually copy paste a job posting and you put it in ChatGPT, and it can tell you what those skills are. And then, can you find the top 15? Can you find the top 10 skills? And it'll say, yes, I can. Sure, most certainly I can go ahead and I can do that for you. Here are the skills that you provided from that job posting. And you can see a lot of skills are like crisis management, teamwork, integrity, role modeling, interpersonal skills. And so this is giving you a blueprint. This is telling you these are the skills that you need to have on your resume. This is how you want to start your bullet points in your resume, with these specific words, like crisis management, role modeling, committing to justice, having extraordinary abilities, being flexible with duties. These are highly, highly coveted skills by the Justice League. And this is one example, right? When I do this with students, and if any of you come to see me, and maybe even if we have time, or if you have a job posting, if you want to get some emergency career coaching right now, it's different jobs, right? But you can replicate this process with jobs in any field. You can go and you can do this. And then, I always say, like, what are the top 3 skills? And this is right there to your right. Why? Because this is going to help you later on with cover letters. It takes the guessing work out of what is it that you need to write about. A lot of students will come to me with cover letters, like, okay, They write a cover letter based on the skills that they have, not on the skills that the job is looking for. This takes the guessing work out of it. So you're going to know exactly what it is that you need to put in a cover letter. And this is how you do it. And then the other thing that you ask it is, what are the top keywords? And you ask it like the same prompt. What are the top 10 keywords from a job posting I provide? So you need to have the job posting, copy paste it, put it in there. And then you ask it, hey, can you find the keywords for that job posting? It'll say, yeah, I sure can. And it'll give you the keywords. You want to use the keywords a little bit differently, okay? So the skills, you want to start all of your bullet points with these skills. And the keywords, you want to sprinkle them around like salt. All right, you want to, season it up, salt bay it up on the resume. You want to put those words throughout. What I tell students is you don't want to be weird about it. You don't want to add like Justice League and Hero and Crisis and like in every word in every sentence. You don't want to go ahead and do that. Technically, if you were to just write Justice League 10 times, superhero 10 times, and you keep going. You filled your resume up with yes, you're gonna make it past the next level. You're gonna beat the applicant tracking system. Yes, you'll be able to do that. But then an HR professional is gonna read your resume and be like, "What is this? This is not cool." So don't do that. Don't be weird about it. But the idea is, yes, you sprinkle these keywords on there, okay, and you're gonna really season your resume really well. It's gonna be really it'll make a difference. So this is how you can get to that next level, how you can get to that interview phase. So what's the takeaway there? It's not perfect. And the reason why it's not perfect is Justice League, right? So you have to have common sense with some of these stuff. Like Justice League is a weird thing to add on there a bunch of times, but superhero or crisis or integrity or empathy or having knowledge of multiverses and universes, that's a huge deal for somebody trying to apply to the Justice League, right? And that can be different in your fields, right? That could be if you're applying to a job with NVIDIA, right? Like knowledge about AI, knowledge about coding, programming, developing, designing. These are all the things that can pop up here. And you want to add what makes sense, what you have experience with and what you can add onto your resume. Yeah, so you need a little bit of common sense when you're doing it. So it can do a lot for you. Again, ChatGPT can cook, but you're the one that with your experiences, with your knowledge, with your input, you're going to be providing the sizzle for it. And they're great for bullet points. Fantastic for bullet points, fantastic for skills. There's no more guessing. And I want to add this right here. So this is what it's like for students when they are applying to a job without the keywords. So I have a lot of students that have beautiful, glistening resumes. They are excellent resumes, and they pass what I call the eyeball test. They're perfect. They're really good. But I have students that will come and like, hey, I've been applying, and I'm not getting anywhere. What's going on? I take a look at the resume. I take a look at the last 10 jobs that they've been applying to. And the first question I ask is, have you been customizing your resume to the job? No. Like, there's a lot of overlap in the jobs. No, I haven't been doing that. And that's the first thing. Every single job, it's like a different key, right? All of you have different keys to your houses. And let's say you all swap keys. Those keys are not going to work to get you in each other's houses. Only that one key is going to work. That's how it is with job postings. So every single job has its own set of keywords, right? And that's what's going to open the door for you. If you don't add that to your resumes, you're never going to open the door. And then with employers, this is what they look like. And look, 2 days ago, I worked in the career and communications fair. That's my area. That's my pathway. So I work with communication students. And before that, we had the career showcase. And this is exactly what employers, like I asked them, like, what is your reaction when an applicant doesn't have the keywords for a job posting in your resume? And this is a reaction. They just shut the door on them. It's never going to get to that next phase. So it's critical and important to add those keywords, and this is how you do it. You ask these very specific prompts to be able to do it. ChatGPT can also critique a resume. So I love this meme. And, I think I did this presentation as an excuse to just add memes in AI all over the place. But, ChatGPT can actually take the role of Steve Jobs here, where you can ask it, hey, is this good based on the job posting that I've provided? How does my resume stack up against that job posting? And it can tell you, hey, you can do a little bit better. You feed it, and then, hey, how's it looking? Better. And then it's going to get to a point where ChatGPT will say, okay, this looks good. This makes sense. Off you go. And this is what I do in my career coaching with students, and this is what has helped them. So it's a collaborative process, a little bit of back and forth, but this is how you get the ball rolling. So here is Harley Quinn again in her anti-hero journey. And she has this beautiful, glistening resume that is perfectly formatted, that can be read by an applicant tracking system, that has really great verbs, really great skills. You know, she's a she has an MD in psychiatric medicine, which is super cool. She owned a roller derby team, which is really, she has all this really, really good stuff up there. Okay, how does my resume stack up against a job posting? And you can ask, can you critique my resume? And these are the specific prompts that I use every single time that I'm doing it. You might be able to tweak a word here or there, but these are the ones that I've been using to help me in my career planning with students. You ask ChatGPT, can you critique my resume against a job posting that I provide? And it'll say, sure. And this is what ChatGPT says for Harley Quinn. It says, hey, this is what you're strong at. You have experience with high-risk missions. You have great leadership. I thought this was so funny. You have an understanding of extreme personalities. Yeah, you do. You know, extreme empathy there. Property management, and Harley Quinn can speak Russian, which I didn't know that. It can share areas to emphasize. So you want to play up the crisis management if you want to get a job at the Justice League. I need to play up your integrity and values, play up your interpersonal skills, play up your teamwork. It can give recommendations. So customize, quantify your achievements, add a summary or an objective. That works for Harley Quinn, right? Because Harley Quinn she's transitioning. This is her third career transition. She went from a psychiatric doctor at Arkham Asylum to a supervillain, psychotic supervillain. And now she's pivoting over to superhero, right? So there might be a little bit of context that you want to provide there. And if that's the case, if you have a story, the objective summary is a good place to go ahead and put that. And this is a pretty good piece of advice. And then possible concerns, checkered past. You know, like, maybe the fact that you were a supervillain is not very good, might hurt you. So you want to address that in a cover letter. And focusing on your heroic acts, like, what have you done that really showcase that you're a hero? I thought these were super fantastic recommendations and things for Harley Quinn to work on. So she did. She came, we worked on it, and she did pretty good. So on her second attempt, ChatGPT said, overall, this is pretty good. But then it still had more. It still added more to it. So areas for further emphasis in your interpersonal skills, play up specific achievements. And then it tells what Harley Quinn's done really well, and then some very minor suggestions. So she's on the right track. And you can do this. You can do this until it says, like, hey, you're good, you're done. As a career coach, I'm like, man, this is pretty good. Like, how much further can we go? And you can go a little bit further. It's like that Steve Jobs meme. I want more perfection, more perfection. It can help you out with that, which is really, really cool, and it can help you out with all your resumes. Cover letters. So cover letters is something that I get students that chat with me all the time. There's a lot of mystique in a cover letter. And they're a pain in the butt. Cover letters are a real pain in the butt. I think that when people are applying for jobs, it's one of their least favorite things to do, and I get it and I understand. And so everybody wants to have a catch-all for cover letters, one magical template that's going to work for everything. And I have some bad news for you if you've come here to get advice on having a magical catch-all for all your cover letters. Yes, tears. There isn't. You have to customize them. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are like, okay, well, we're here for a ChatGPT MVP presentation. ChatGPT can do it for us, and it can. Yes, it can. I don't want to lie to you. It can do it. And it's pretty good. It writes pretty well. But I don't recommend doing that, right? Because again, like I mentioned earlier, career professionals can tell. It's too perfect. It's too good. And human speech, right? Like it has a certain rhythm and a certain, like beat and all that. And we can just tell. Like we read them out loud, we can tell whether it's AI generated or not. But ChatGPT can still help you with your cover letters and help you significantly improve them. So with cover letters, you can just straight up ask it, right? Like, write me a cover letter. And I got to tell you, this cover letter was pretty dang good. The part that had me like in tears, right, was over here. In the second, am I running out of battery? No. Okay, my laser's not working, but it's over there. And it's like the second sentence, I'm particularly inspired by the Justice League's commitment to redemption and personal growth. Having walked the tightrope between darkness and light, I understand the complexities of this journey. Wow, that's pretty good. Like, ChatGPT did that. Like, it can cook. Again, ChatGPT can cook. It can really cook well. If you want that steak medium rare, it'll get it there every single time. 10 out of 10 every single time. but it's too perfect, and I don't recommend doing that. And if I were to read this, there would be a lot of telltale signs of, like, turning, like interconnectedness of our multiverse, like just little phrases like this. People don't really talk like that, and that's it, right? That's the key to an excellent cover letter is how do you talk? How do you talk really? Being professional, yes, but like that's really the key. It's authenticity, and sometimes this isn't very authentic. So what do you do, right? Ask ChatGPT, barring, please don't write it for me, but what guidance can you provide as to what each paragraph should include based on I want to become a superhero. And this, for your hero's journey, right, it'll be a little bit different. It'll be, I want to become a computer, like a software engineer, or I want to be a journalist, or I want to go into teaching, or I want to do mathematics. Like, this is going to be different for everybody, and the cool thing is, like, you can do this every single time with each different field. It'll give you different templates for every field based on what's going to be important for them. So in this world, Harley Quinn should have an opening paragraph, start with a formal introduction, give some examples as to what that should look like. A second paragraph, what it'll have, highlighting the significant accomplishments and experiences in Harley's burgeoning superhero career, having some examples and so on. And I think that this is really, really good. And you can use this. You can use this as a template, writing off your own experiences. You know your experiences very, very well. And customizing it to each specific job. If Harley Quinn was applying to more places, let's say she was applying to the Avengers, and I know that it's in a different universe, but just, entertain me. Let's say she was applying to the Avengers, right? Like, the Avengers are going to have different keywords and different things that are going to be important to them. And it's got to be a different cover letter for them, and so on with different organizations. So you want to go ahead and do that, and when you do that, when you ask it to customize it for you, it'll do that each and every time. So, we're almost concluding, right? ChatGPT can cook. So that's like that. It can do it. It can really do it all, right? It can do the resume. It can correct things for you. It can write a good cover letter, but it can't write an authentic cover letter, right? Like, it can cook the steak for you, but it can't season it. And that's what you provide. You provide the seasoning to these experiences. Use ChatGPT to help you with your professional documents, to help you elevate your professional documents, to help you get that interview. But your experiences and your sizzle is what's really going to make it stand out. So ChatGPT can cook, so it can't season. And I don't know, I love Ratatouille. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I definitely cry at the ending each and every time. And, like, you're the ones that are adding the sizzle to it and the seasoning. And your experiences are what's going to make your professional documents special and interesting. And it's what's going to get you to that next level. So I hope that all these things that we've chatted about will help you in your journey. But just remember, ChatGPT can cook. It can do so much, but it can't season it for you. That's only something that you can do. And yeah, look, and I want to share this with you. In my field, which is arts, communications, media, and marketing, we have, there's a lot of contests and everything. And people are already starting to know what's happening. they already know, okay, this is too perfect. This is an AI-generated script. This is an AI-generated cover letter. So just know that on our end, career professionals are wise to this stuff. They're completely wise to the fact that AI is being used. So don't do it. Just be authentic in your presentation materials and your cover letters, and you will do fine. And if you need help, you can refer to this document. You can come and chat with me. I'll be happy to walk you through some of the prompts. I do this in all my career planning appointments with students, and it's helped them. Students that have beautiful resumes, great experiences, but haven't been able to get to that next step, we can help you out with that. So yeah, that's all I got for you. Cool. Open the floor if you have any questions. ChatGPT, comics. No? All right. Cool. Go ahead. In a cover letter, and I'm going to go all the way back. In a cover letter, it is asking it, hey, what are the top skills that you're looking for specifically? So here are the skills, and pick, like right here, right? Like pick the top 2 or 3 that you are absolutely good at. Everything else will be covered in a resume, but you hit on those very specific things, right? So if you were Harley Quinn, right? Like pick 3. It doesn't have to be the top 3. It could just be 3 or 2, and you're picking your top ones. If I were Harley, right, I would say that crisis management and teamwork and extraordinary skills are something that I would write about. And you choose those 3 things. Okay, then you ask it, hey, can you give me a cover letter template for nonprofit or a cover letter template for computer science, right? And it'll give you a play-by-play. And then here's my suggestion to you. Get an iPhone and go on voice notes and actually speak everything out, because that's going to be in your voice, right? Like when we're talking, we're not really talking in cliches, or at least we're not trying to. But in a lot of this writing, I understand why it's so intimidating, right? Because it's like, oh, there's got to be like a specific way to write these things, and I am pleased to announce my candidacy for, and every cover letter starts like that. Or I am writing to express my interest. Every single cover letter starts like that. But if you're really just speaking into it, I'm applying because like this is a really cool job, and if you know the company, right? Let's use Harley Quinn. Now I'll use my knowledge of comic books, right? So Harley Quinn is like, Justice League, I'm very happy to apply to this role. I know that I have been a murderous, psychotic, supervillain in the past, but I'm turning a leaf, and I really, really want to do some good here. And I believe I am a great match for the Justice League because I am excellent at crisis management. I am excellent at working in a team. And despite the fact I don't have superpowers, I can go toe-to-toe with anybody out there. Right? So you're going to follow kind of what they're telling you to do. And you go beat by beat, but you speak it in. Don't worry about the grammar errors. Don't worry about anything, right? The thing is, like, when we talk, we're not talking in perfections. We're talking in imperfections. And then we go back and we fix it grammatically. If you do that when you're writing your cover letters, it's going to come off as authentic. And that is the key to a good cover letter. It's being real and authentic and adding the salt, right? Like ChatGPT, again, it can cook it. It can write something really good. This is a really good cover letter, but it's too perfect, right? There's something missing because nobody talks like this. The interconnectedness of nobody says that. So that's how you can avoid being detected by anything. It's like, write it the way that you would speak, and speak into like a voice. Make sure that it's hitting the major beats, buff it up a little bit, and you will be authentic and sound real each and every time. Some industries, knowing your industry, so yeah, there's a point to that. Some industries are going to demand more professionalism, and networking and getting to know people ahead of time will inform that a little bit. So if you're applying, my area is arts, communications, media, marketing. So authenticity really, really is important, right? But let's say you're applying to a finance role. Professionalism is going to be the major thing. I would still recommend, if you're trying to not trip up an AI detector, still write the way that you would talk, but just be ultra professional, the way that you would if they were sitting right in front of you. So to your point, yes, but it's writing to your audience. Yeah, and it depends on the area. You're right, but your experience, people still want to hear about your experiences in a real way. And the key to this, right, is just to not sound like a robot. That's it, right? How do you not sound like a robot? That's a way to do it, is to not sound like a robot. But write to the audience, right? If you're in finance, write to that audience. But hitting the major things that they're looking for. If we were to ask ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, what does a cover letter template look like for the finance industry? It's going to give you the playbook. So write to that, write to the beats it's asking for. And then if you don't want to sound like a robot, go ahead and use Apple Notes or something and speak to it and hit the major beats. Be professional, be mindful of tone. But yeah. Does that answer your question? No, it was a reflection. Cool. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of like tangential to this. It's not specifically what we discussed, but we talked about like keywords from job postings. And when you were talking about like Harley Quinn, like I know I was a murderer. It made me think like, are there any like keywords that like specifically filter out applicants? Like if they have anything on their application that is specifically against what they're looking for, do they filter those out, or do they do that, or is it just like looking for words that match rather than like are the opposite?
Some jobs will have specific requirements, right? So as a university student, some jobs will only take students if they have over a 3.0 GPA. So if your resume does not have the GPA, it's insta out. Even if you have all the other keywords, it's looking for the GPA because to them, that is a qualifier. They're not going to waste time if your resume doesn't have that. To some other companies out there, certain majors are qualifiers. This is not true of every company, right? And here at the C3, we like to say your major does not equal your career. There are some companies out there that it's a computer science only or systems engineering only. And if that's not in your education, right, then it's also insta out. So there are some things that it is weeding out for. Applicant tracking systems are weeding out for. But most of the ones that I deal with, most of the ones that I see, they don't really have like where it says only one major or only one GPA. And in those cases, it is looking for the keywords in the job posting. It's not looking for like an anti-keyword, right?
Okay.
Any questions, comments, concerns? We got a gentleman in the back. Cool shirt.
I was just going to ask, you mentioned GPA just now, and I'm involved with like the business graduate school, and one of the things that BCS says is to not put your GPA on your resume if it's below a certain threshold. And I have some qualms kind of against that because I feel like what you just said is that you're immediately disqualified. It sounds like if you don't have it on there, and that if it's not on there, employers going to assume the worst and assume that it's probably much, much lower than it actually is. But I just don't know if you had any kind of tips or guidance on any kind of threshold, maybe it's based on certain job descriptions or positions that you're applying for.
With some jobs, let's say like Goldman Sachs, they'll tell you don't apply if you have like a 3.7 or under, right? So you have to have the GPA on there. I think for what BCS is saying, and I would probably recommend this too, is if you're networking, right? If you're networking, if you really connect with the person, you can connect with them and show your expertise on another level. And if they see that GPA on there, their mind is instantly going to say, right? But if you have them right there in front of you, you can overcome that, right? And even though they have like don't apply if you have a 3.7, they like you so much that, what's your name? Derek. We're going to give Derek a shot. Okay. So it's when you're networking and you're in person, I don't think you need to have it in person. But if you are uploading and it's so like, look, I think 3.7 is very stringent, right? But a lot of companies will say 3.0, right? If you have a 3.0, you got to put it on there. To your point, if it is not on there, they're going to assume the worst and it's not on here. Or it's just as bad as having, look, I was a person that I had a 2.6 at one point in my life, okay? So yeah, I don't want to brag about that. I didn't want to brag about having a 2.6, so I never had it on a resume. But let's say I did, right? And I applied to Goldman Sachs, and I'm not a finance genius, okay? I took one finance class, and I cried. It was really hard. But I wouldn't put it on there. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But if I put it on there for a job like Goldman Sachs, it's a disqualification anyway, right? Now, I like to think that my interpersonal skills are really great. And you know what? I'm not that bad at finance either. I can hold my own. I can do delta numbers. I can do all of that. Put me in, coach. Let me go ahead and chat with Goldman Sachs. I'm going to take that GPA off because if he sees it on there, I'm not going to have a chance to let my other skills shine. And I think that's why BCS tells you to do that, right? But yes, if you're uploading your resume, let's say to Citigroup or to CVS or to Goldman Sachs, and they have that on there, just know if you're uploading it, and if it doesn't have like the GPA threshold that they're looking for, yeah, it's gonna kick you off. Yeah. Derek, does that answer your question?
Thank you. That was a great perspective. And
Yeah.
more of an explanation I think I got from the school. So thank you
No,
very much.
yeah, you got it. Yeah, no. All right. Well, that's all I got for you. I'll be here, so I'll be here until 3. If you have 3:30, if you have any more questions, if you want to chat one-on-one, I'll be happy to help you out. Thank you for coming to my ChatGPT talk, and I hope that you use this and utilize it to become a ChatGPT MVP. Use these things, you're going to do great, and you'll get to that next level with the interview. Interviewing is a different thing. Come see me if it's an interview. ChatGPT can also help you out with that, but that's another talk. This is what's going to help you get your foot in the door for an interview right here. You got it. Thanks for coming.